Marvelous hello, friends and loved ones! How are you today? So, look, I know things have been a little frustrating these past few weeks. We've probably all been feeling just a little bit cooped up and are pretty eager to get out and do some stuff. Well, I think I figured out the perfect solution. For this year's Edutainment Month, I'm going to be taking you all to not one, but 3 fantastic locations. So get ready, folks at home, because we're going on a field trip! The Junior Field Trip series was a trilogy of games from Humongous Entertainment, whom I first talked about on this channel last year with Pajama Sam 3. I was really eager to dive back into the company again this year, and am happy to say many of you were totally cool with this decision. The first entry was released in October 1994 under the Junior Encyclopedia brand, and was simply known as The Farm. It was later updated and re-released in July 1995 as Let's Explore the Farm, alongside the second game, which came out the same day, followed by the third game, which came out a few months later in November. They really pushed this entire trilogy of games out so quickly, you'd think we were dealing with Persona spin-offs. But let's go ahead and start with the first one, shall we? We're quickly greeted by our host, Buzzy the Knowledge Bug, who gives us a quick rundown on what a farm is and what we can expect to find, and that's it. Go do stuff. Unlike the junior adventure titles most people know about, like Putt-Putt or Spy Fox, which were more of point-and-click adventure titles geared towards younger audiences with their own plots and inventory puzzles, the Junior Field Trip series is basically what it says in the title, Let's Explore the Farm. You're at a farm, and you can explore it. Aside from Buzzy, who you can always call in to give some color commentary on a situation.
Wow, look at all the eggs in the chicken coop. This is making me hungry for breakfast.
Your only goal is just to go from place to place and learn as much or as little as you want about what you're seeing on the screen. But just because there isn't a story doesn't mean we can't click on stuff. That's right, there's no shortage of stuff to click on. This is still a Humongous Entertainment title after all, and you never quite know what you're going to get. You've got rocket-powered otters down by the river, an endless supply of carrots for the horse, haunted produce in the basement, the farmer milking his cow, and the farmer's wife calling someone honey even though we know the farmer isn't home right now.
Honey, can you turn on the radio?
If you ever find yourself tired of clicking on things and feel like actually learning something in this educational series, you can always consult the index. In the index, you'll be able to learn about pretty much anything in the game. You can read articles yourself, or have Buzzy read them out loud. And if you're ever unsure about a word, you can hover over it and have Buzzy call it out for you. A feature that I'm sure could never be exploited by childish YouTubers.
You, damn, pickle.
Pickle. I think The Farm is a pretty solid first entry. I like that it focuses on several different aspects of farming, from gardening, to animal husbandry, to seeing the different types of equipment farmers use, and even getting to explore a bit of the local wildlife you'll find out in the countryside. It's a decent little trip, and if you're not careful, you just might learn something. The second stop in our trilogy of field trips is to a far less exciting place, the airport. I assume this is the one people are the most familiar with since other big YouTubers like Brutal Moose and Peanut Butter Gamer have already talked about it, so I don't really have too much else to add. Plus, it's an airport, and sure, feel free to learn all you want about oxygen masks and hot plates, but I've never really had the urge to play a video game where I can hang out at an airport gate. I do enough of that in real life thanks to nearly every flight I've ever been on being delayed. But I suppose that's still not as bad as what this guy's going through. He managed to be second in line, and he's still gonna be here forever thanks to the dude in front of him not even knowing where he wants to go.
And if I wanted to go to Miami?
Let me check on that, sir.
Well, what about Denver?
No!
And to Walla Walla?
Okay, hold on.
How much to Pittsburgh?
Let me check on that.
I guess that's why they always say you should arrive at the airport 56 hours before your flight. Sure, the airport might not be the most interesting place for me personally, but I'm sure there are kids that are curious about how their luggage gets onto a plane, or want to learn a bit more about the literal ins and outs of a variety of aircrafts. I'd be lying if I said I didn't learn a few things about seaplanes that I didn't know before. Granted, what I knew before was basically whatever I'd learned from that one episode of Bob's Burgers.
It's called a pontoon! Shut up, Jay!
But of course, if you don't feel like learning about helicopters, you can always click on stuff. We can help the employees hit over 100 days without an on-the-job accident. We can completely ruin this poor retail worker's day. We can ruin that 100 days without an accident. And we can even lock the airplane bathrooms. I did say this wasn't the most interesting one, right? Alright, well, I think I'm just about ready to take off from the airport. Where are we headed to next?
I hope someplace where they have a lot of bugs. Now that's my idea of a good vacation.
Ha! Keep dreaming, Buzzy, like I'm really gonna go somewhere with a lot of bugs. So now we head to our last junior field trip. Let's explore the jungle. Ah, crap.
In the Asian area, there are dragons and spitting fish, and even a plant that eats bugs.
You sound way too excited about that. Buzzy, are you okay? Do you need someone to talk to? Just like before, there are multiple areas to explore. What's kinda cool about the jungle is you can actually explore jungles from multiple different areas, allowing you to check out the Amazon, Africa, and Asia. As a 90s kid who really wanted a subscription to Zoo Books, partially so I could get that sweet tiger poster, Jungle was definitely my favorite of the three, and the one I spent the most time with while I was recording. Even at the age of 30, I loved learning about some of these animals, which, same as farm and airport, you can always use the "What is this?" button and go straight to an item's index page. I found myself doing that a lot in the jungle compared to the other titles, but I realized there are a few places where Buzzy doesn't know what he's talking about. Like, we all know the real reason why cave tetras are blind.
Who robs cave fish of their sight?
Who rigged every Oscar night?
We do.
There's not a lot that I can really say about the jungle that I haven't already said about the first two entries. Your primary goal is just to learn about the various plants and animals you'd find in different types of jungles, and this is a pretty good piece of software to do exactly that. Or you can just join Buzzy as he makes fun of this monkey for some reason.
Wow! Check out the face on that monkey on the left. Somebody must have really embarrassed him.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
And yes, of course, we can click on stuff! The jungle is home to many amazing sights. You've got the flower that Vileplume is based off of, you've got people who are regretting some of their college choices, you've got the mesmerizing jungle rave plant, and of course everyone's favorite bird meme from 2016.
I got you, Blue.
But let's say you're tired of exploring the farm, airport, and jungle, and you just want to actually play something, not learn something. Well, Humongous Entertainment has got you covered there as well. Each of the junior field trips has 5 games that you can play. A trivia game where you answer questions based on information from the index. Find It, which is a pretty fun scavenger hunt where Buzzy shows you a small picture of something found on one of the screens and you have to go find it. And a coloring book that I do think is kinda cool, if only because it actually encourages kids to learn about mixing colors to make new colors instead of just giving you everything. Like if you want green, you actually have to mix
Blue and yellow.
but if you want a darker green, you mix some black in there. I like that even the coloring book is educational, as it teaches kids some basic aspects of color theory. It's kinda cool. But still just a coloring book, so I can only say so much about it. All of the games have those 3, but each field trip also has 2 unique games specific to that location. At the farm, you've got Spell It, which on hard mode is essentially a farm-based hangman, except instead of hanging a man, you've got cows presumably coming home, if the old adage is of any indication. And Eggs Away, which is this. Thrilling. At the airport, you've got What Is It, a game where they show you a picture of something and you just click what it is. I'll tell you what it is. It is not one of the more exciting games. Got him. and Lost Luggage, where you use conveyor belts to guide luggage to the proper receptacle, and this is one of the more exciting games. I think I played more of this one than any other just because I was having a good time. And lastly, in the jungle, the mighty jungle, you get Jungle Jumble, where you unjumble the words of the jungle. Buzzy tells you what the word is, which I'm sure is great for younger players, but for older players who am smart like me be, it's just kind of a
D-R-A-G.
And you've got Anteater Feeder, which is kinda like one of those carnival shooting galleries where you click on things to eat them. Things like ants, grasshoppers, and the elusive jungle pie. Also, does anyone else think it's weird we call them anteaters? What other animal gets named after its diet? It'd be like if we called human beings burger munchers. So yeah, that's essentially the Junior Field Trip series. These games probably aren't going to do a lot for adults these days, but I think they would be a great time for the younger audiences they were intended for that are interested in learning about different subjects, like zoology, aviation, or agriculture. There's plenty to do and see just through the trademark humongous clicking on stuff, but there's always something to learn thanks to the index and the tireless efforts of Buzzy the Knowledge Bug. And if you get tired of learning, you can always just unwind a bit by playing some of the games. Alright everyone, that's gonna do it for this year's special Edutainment Month field trip. Let me just do a quick head count, make sure everyone's here. We got 1, 4, 7... Uh-oh.